Hi viewers, I welcome you all to our Programming World channel. In this channel now we posting videos for helping you to learn C++ programming language. So already in our previous videos we have discussed, we help you to learn the basic programming syntax in C++ programming and like how we can use the control statements and also how we can implement structures in C++ and what is the difference between structures in C and C++ like that we had posted the video to help you to learn the basic fundamentals which are required to implement programs effectively. After then, yeah, we posted the video that's about what object-oriented programming concepts. There we have discussed about only the theoretical concepts of object-oriented programming elements which are very important, which are very powerful for implementing the applications effectively. After then, yeah, we have a video that's about class ADT, so which helps to implement all different kinds of object-oriented programming concepts in our C++ environment. Okay, so in that perspective, I would like to discuss a very important concept that is what constructors in our C++ programming language. Okay, now we move on to this video session. So what is mean by constructor first? Okay, so constructor which are special member functions of a class. Okay, so what is the exact use of having a special member function? What is the meaning of special member functions actually? So special member function, that is what constructor which are in the same class name only. If you take the previous video, if you watch the previous video that's about what a class ADT, there you can see the different member functions like get input, display, like that we have created the member functions with return type. But whereas when it comes to constructor, the function should not have any different unique name. It should be in the same class name only, and that member function, I mean that special member function, that is constructor, which doesn't have any return type. Okay, so in the sense, no return type, no return values from our constructor. So what is the exact use of constructor in our programming? Very simple, which is used to initialize the object's properties at the time of object creation. So when we create the object for the class, so in that time itself we can initialize the values to the objects automatically. Okay, so that is the exact role of constructor in our C++ programming and also advanced programming languages. So here, what is the exact uh, advantage of using constructor? One is what the member functions will be in the same class name, no return type, okay, and we can initialize the values just by what when we create the object, and so during the object itself, the member function will be called automatically. I mean the constructor will be called automatically. Okay, so no need to have any explicit function call for this. Okay, so it saves what the CPU cycles. You can see that it saves the CPU cycles, and also it reduces the code length, because you can see the file size that could be reduced when we don't go with what any return type and also any special explicit member functions required for what initializing the object values. And one more thing I would like to tell you here, we have different types of constructor. One is what default constructor, another one is parameterized constructor, and third one is copy constructor. So the default constructor that we will discuss in our in this video. Okay, so before that you will see the syntax what to be used for making our constructor. So here you can see that a very general syntax what could be used for making our constructor in our class. So in class only we should have the constructor. Okay, as I said, the function, I mean it is a special member function. It should have the name in the class. Okay, so you can see that after having the attributes declaration, you can find the public access specifier. So the constructor could be called automatically from the outside of the class. So that's why we have the public access specifier. After then you can see that the class name which is given. Okay, class name no return type. It is what actually member function, but it is a special member function. Why? In the sense there is no return type, it is what in the same class name, and also it is used automatically for initializing the object values. Okay, so you can see that arguments could be passed from outside of the class. So in the sense, you can pass the values to attributes from the outside of the class to initialize them. Okay. After then, the remaining programs that is complete. I mean, the remaining code in our class, that could be what, based on the application. You can have the different member functions which could be used for defining the object's behavior. Okay. Right. So now I would like to discuss about the default constructor. So default constructor, it is used to initialize the properties with their default values. So the default values in the sense, what if you take a, so attributes that could be declared with the help of what, data types. So attributes are having the data types. So according to the data types, the attributes can have the default values. For an example, you can see in this slide. So we have a class like point, and also we have declared two properties like x coordinate and y coordinate, and we initialize the values like x coordinate is equal to 0 and y coordinate is equal to 0. Actually, there is a mistake. Okay, not xc is equal to 0, that is yc is equal to 0. Okay, so here you can see that, so the default value for this integer number, it is what, 0. Okay, that we assign here. Okay, so that is the exact meaning of what, the role of default constructor, to give the default values to our objects properties. Okay, so here what happens now, if we don't give any default constructor in your code, implicitly the compiler will assign a default constructor, that is what, implicit constructor, that will be given to our objects to initialize their properties. Okay, in the sense, the compiler itself is having what, a default constructor that could be given for each class to initialize the default values to their attributes. And one more thing, by using the same default constructor concept, you can give the dynamic values also to our properties. In the sense, you can have input statement in our constructor, so where you can collect the input, and also you can assign the values to the properties of the different objects of the same class. Okay, right. So now I would like to show a simple code for that. Okay, so here you can see, yeah, the same code I have made it here. Okay, default constructor. You see here, without default constructor, what we do actually, we should have a get input function where you can take what the inputs, input for x coordinate and y coordinate. So it should have the dynamic values. Suppose you see, before calling the, before initialize the values, suppose if you go for what, display function, what happens, what kind of values may be there. Without initializing the object's properties, if you call display function, what happens, no, sometimes it will provide you the garbage values, some error codes or some error results. Okay, so that could be stopped by using what, automatic initialization by using constructor. Okay, so here what I have done is, I have made a explicit member function like void get input to take the dynamic values through the customer or user interaction. Okay, instead of that, what I'm doing is, you see, if you can see that now. Okay, I have a constructor. Okay, I have a constructor point. Okay, after then, what I'm doing with this, I have initialized the coordinates x is equal to 0 and y is equal to 0. Okay, and we have get input member function for getting the values, and display member function, it is for what, displaying the x and coordinate values. So here you can see that, you see, point b, then p dot get input for calling that member function, and p dot display, it is for what, calling that output member function. So when you execute this, you can see that output. So it will ask us to give a dynamic input for x coordinate and y coordinate. Okay, I'm giving 20 and then 30. And what happened is, the display member function will be called to show the results, what values are assigned for x and y coordinate values. Okay, so now you can see that, you see, suppose without calling this p dot get input, okay, if you go for calling the output function, what happens? You can see that the x coordinate and y coordinate value, which is equal to what, 0, both are equal to 0. So here it happens because of what, this point default constructor that would be called when this object creation is happen. Please understand, when this is what object creation. Okay, when this object creation is going to execute, so that time automatically this this constructor will be called, this special member function, that is what constructor will be called. So x is equal to 0 and y is equal to 0, that would be assigned for our attributes, and those will be having the default values like 0 and 0. But one thing I would like to tell you, as I said in our theory discussion, okay, if we don't have the default constructor, what happens? Okay, Now you see we have disabled the get input function calling, and also we have disabled what the default constructor. If you go with this, only we have what display member function that will be executed. So here you can see that same value like 0 0 will be given to that. So how it is happening in the sense, the implicit constructor that would be provided by the compiler. Please understand, the compiler will give this kind of constructor automatically to this code to initialize the attributes. Integer is equal to what? 0. Actually integer value will get 0. So that's why you see x is equal to 0, y is equal to 0, that would be given for those two attributes. Okay, so the default constructor that could be given automatically by the compiler also. Suppose we don't want to have these kind of default values, I want to have what? Some dynamic values here, you see. So what code we have in our get input, that we are going to place it here. My dear people, please understand here what we are doing is, instead of what assigning the values by default values, I would like to take the input that will be the default values to the particular object. Now you can see that, okay, get input function, that is what that will not be called, but actually due to the constructor execution, now it is asking us to give a default value. Now you see I'm giving a default value to x coordinate for a object p, okay, then y coordinate value is what? 30, like that I'm giving. Now the object p, okay, so here object p is having what? Values like 20 and 30 by default. That is what the starting value of the object's properties. Okay, so like that also you can give the default values through calling the default constructor. Here please understand the get input member function which is disabled. So point p, that is about what? Object creation. So when the control is given for executing this statement, automatically this constructor will be called, and here we have what? Dynamic input statement to get the input values for x and y coordinate, that will be executed and the values are assigned. That's why when the display member function which is executed, so what about the default value which is assigned for this p object, that will be displayed. Okay, so we have to call the member function to the corresponding object only. Okay, suppose you see you have p1, okay, we have p1 also one object. Okay, so what I'm doing, simply if I'm calling what p1, what happens? No, okay, p1 dot display, there also what happen is it will take the values of, it will be executed with the constructor to give dynamic values to p1 also. Now you can see that, you see the p values were 20, that is 20 30, and p1 values I'm giving like 40 and 50. Now you can see that. So first two values about what? P object, and second two values that's about what? P1 object. So objects will have the unique values. Okay, so objects may have unique values on their attributes. Okay, so that's the thing you have to understand. Okay, I think you people understand about the meaning of constructor and role of default constructor, and how it, you can see that as I told you, you see there is no need to have an explicit call for calling the default constructor. Automatically it is called. And also when you go with what this kind of input statement, and there is no need to have this get input member function in your code, so simply you can remove it. Okay, so you can remove it, and also you can see that the file size could be reduced. Okay, instead of what having a member functions separately, you can go with only what the constructor which takes the which helps you to take the dynamic values also. So that is the advantage of using this. Okay, so more, you see, if you take any big applications, so definitely you can find the constructor will be in our object oriented programming development for implementing very good applications. Okay, so constructor playing a vital role, so we should know about the meaning of constructor, and we have to utilize them to improve the efficiency of our program by initializing the object properties automatically. I hope you people understand about the role of constructor and also one of the type default constructor in our C++ programming language. Thank you for watching this. If you like this video, please click on the like button, and also I request the new viewers, please subscribe this channel and also stay with us to get good videos to learn programming languages like C, C++, and in coming days we post Java also. And you can able to improve your problem solving skills by seeing another playlist that's about what tricky problems videos are posted to improve our problem solving skills. Thank you for watching this. Thank you.